From KETK, you're watching East Texas Live.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Jose, and he's here to tell us about the 2 Hour House organization. Thank you so much for being here today.
I'm glad to be here, no doubt.
Yes, sir. So what happened here in Tyler 20 years ago?
Well, just imagine you had 579 volunteers, a year and a half of planning, and they built a 2,300 square foot house, exceeded code in less than 3 hours. I mean, to me, that's amazing. So they don't realize what they had done. You're talking about coordination, planning, teamwork, efficiency, time management, and nobody got paid. You know, so that kind of goes to show that the human spirit is alive and well, and to have that thing come together and break a world's record and built that house in 2 hours and 52 minutes, I don't think they realize how big that really was. So we're going to have a reunion here next Tuesday and celebrate that, and getting a bunch of these guys together that were kind of captains of the project, and it's something that nobody will ever break, I can tell you that.
Yes, sir. And you were mentioning to me before we came on, it was kind of like a business principle, and you used that kind of, can you talk about how that method?
Yeah, you know, I look at the house analogy, it's kind of like your life. What do you want your house to look like? And what do you want your business to look like? What do you want your house to look like? What do you want your community to look like? And it's the same process, you build it backwards, but you know, you really got to engage people. But when I saw that story, and his dad, Brian Conaway, had done the project, and his dad was showing a group of people, and I said, play that again, and he played it again, and everything I learned in business is in that story, because you see teamwork, you see efficiency, you see trust. Well, they damn sure didn't want to kill each other. So you're talking about exceeding code in less than 3 hours, and you got to see how this whole thing came together. But I think it has everything to do with life. How do you build your life backwards? What do you want your life to look like? And then look at where you're at today, and it's the same process.
Yes, sir. So how did this 2 Hour House book come to be?
Well, back to the story, I was at the Texas Motor Speedway, and Steve was showing his son, a group of people, about what his son had accomplished. And that's when I went, Brian, this could be one of the best leadership books of all time. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, every business principle is in that story. I mean, it's a, you know, I'm back to it again, but, you know, you got to have a plan. You got to have people. You got to have trust. You got to have collaboration. You got to have teamwork. Everybody has to work together with the different trades. And what's really amazing about that is a group of competitors band together to do something special for the community. So I do believe that the human spirit is alive and well. We just got to make the game big enough, and it really unites the community, which I would say in Tyler, we got the best community, I believe, in Texas, and the best community in the United States. But to see that project come together with all these leaders working together is a big deal.
Yes, sir. And just talk about how teams or businesses kind of can, you know, take some lessons from this.
Well, you know, if you know, sometimes collaboration, we see it in our mind based on what we learned in our life, but when you actually look at collaboration inside the 2 Hour House story, it shifts your mindset. Teamwork, if we got that picture in our mind, what does that really look like? We can use it as a kind of, because we have 3 types of learners. You got kinesthetic learners, auditory learners, visual learners. Well, the 2 Hour House, we're human creatures of the eye. We can't believe it can be done, but when we see it, it shifts our mindset, no doubt about it.
And what was that house kind of like, seeing it put all the way together?
It's actually across from the, at the airport was where they built it. And you can go to 2hourhouse.com, the number 2, HOURHOUSE.com, and you can see the 3-minute video of the house going together. And I would recommend show it to your family, show it to your team, show it to your business employees, and say, hey, what do we want our house to look like? And everybody working together to make that better for everybody.
And is that house still standing today?
The house is still standing, exceeded code, and had no complaints all this time. And it was a fundraiser for the Habitat for Humanity, and it sold the next day.
Yes, sir.
It's pretty amazing. So 20-year anniversary coming up, and it's amazing to see all these people. They just didn't realize, and I interviewed a lot of them because, you know, how did that affect your personal life? How did that affect your business? And it's amazing how they're sharing their stories with the next generation.
Yes, sir. Well, Jose, thank you so much for coming in.
You got it, man. Thanks for being here. I'm glad to be here, buddy.
Yes, sir. For more information, go to the website right there on your screen.